you are so skinny. And you're like, I am literally not.
I'm not?
No, you're not a stick of a dude. You're my big man, and I love you.
Hi, I'm Michael.
I'm Eden.
And we are
Majorly Married. So, this week, we're getting a little spicy.
Ooh. What does that mean?
It means we're talking about sex.
Ooh, and intimacy.
Yes, but we're talking about intimacy in bed.
In bed,
So
around sex.
we're not talking about emotional intimacy necessarily. We're not talking
To be
about
fair,
spiritual intimacy. It all comes into play.
It's more like it's in the bedroom. Mm-hmm. So it's not all 100% about sex. It's about the environment in sexual intimacy.
Okay. What are we specifically talking about? Because that's a big topic.
Yeah. We are talking about insecurities in sexual intimacy.
Well, that's less fun.
Why? You insecure about it?
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, it's a huge part, right?
Yeah, I think it's a huge part in any long-term relationship. The sexual component is a huge factor. And I think that insecurities are natural. I think everybody has insecurities. And they come in 25,000 different forms.
For every person, there's a unique insecurity.
Yeah, I think, we tried to bucket some of them, and we'll hit some of the major categories that we see and maybe that we've dealt with. But, I mean, I think it affects everybody in their sexual relationship, personal relationships, and just with themselves. Everybody has insecurities.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I know when we started the sexual component of our relationship, I had so many insecurities that came up that I knew were going to come up, and then things that I had no idea were going to surface that I was like, oh, hello, friend. Welcome to a whole new battle. So I know you started really thinking through some of these things and doing a little bit of digging and research. What are some of the common bedroom battles that people face?
Yeah. I think there is the biggest one, which we will, of course, cover. It's physical attributes and body.
Just body image, body shame.
Body image and physical attributes. Insecurities about some physical feature. The second one, which we'll talk about, is exploration in the bedroom, or kinks. So
you said it so formally. Exploration. Kinks.
But it is true though. People want to experiment, or people have interests in something sexually that maybe they're ashamed of, or they don't want to admit to their partner. Third one, I think, is experience and comparison, I guess. Mm-hmm. And I guess performance. We kind of bucketed all those, and we're gonna talk through that. So performance anxiety, whether it's erectile dysfunction or fear of performing, fear of being compared to past relationships, experience, whether there's mismatched libido or mismatched past experience.
Yeah. And I mean, there's other areas of insecurity that I think, as we talked about this, we had a 10-hour drive where we were starting to talk about this topic and figure out what we wanted to explore here.
Yeah.
There are so many other categories that I am positive we will do another episode where we'll dive into the rest of them. I could do a whole episode on purity culture and how that comes into play. But that's not what we're focusing on this time. We're focusing on those three big kind of universal things that a lot of people are going to encounter.
Yeah.
Once they take their clothes off.
There's gender identity, there's age insecurities, there's moral or religious, like purity culture, there's trauma insecurities. There's a whole swath of different categories that we could get into, but I think we want to keep this tight. We want to keep this on the three that I think are more major topics, and we have experience.
Yeah, I mean, these are definitely the things that we had to tackle in our relationship, and in experiencing and encountering these things, I think it's partially just my personality that I like to tackle things head on. So if I see that there's a deep issue that could be explored, we're diving in. There's no way around it. I may stall in approaching it, but we're getting there. And I think because we've tackled these things head on, we've been able to grow our relationship, grow our security, and really have a pretty great sex life over the course of our marriage so far. I wouldn't say we have 20 years of history here to go, yeah, we've been through all these different seasons of life, but we had early honeymoon stage, we had periods of illness and sickness and body changes, postpartum. You know, we've encountered a few different seasons of sex.
Yeah, and I think it's important to acknowledge insecurities can come and go. We may have tackled some of those early ones, but new ones arose. Body changes over time can grow new insecurities that you didn't expect, and now you have to tackle. Stages of life. When we're 60, are we going to have a different set of insecurities?
100%.
Exactly, and we're going to have to overcome those. And so...
You mean we'll be having sex when we're 60?
Of course.
Aw.
Yeah. So, what do you want to dive into?
Let's go on ahead and hit body image, body shame right off the bat. I feel like that one is so universal. People deal with that outside of the bedroom.
Yeah, people deal with that in general. Like, people will look in the mirror and be like, I hate my nose.
Getting dressed for this, I had a whole set of insecurities I had to overcome and go, you know what, screw it. It's fine. Just hit record.
Yeah. And this one is I think the biggest. Everybody has some physical attribute that they don't like about themselves. And when it comes to having a sexual relationship, you got to get naked in front of somebody.
No.
And so those insecurities pop up. And exactly, you say no. And I think, how do these insecurities arise sometimes, or how do they show? I mean, sometimes it results in that. People who are like, oh, I don't take off my bra. I don't take off my shirt. I don't have sex with the lights on. Like, they cannot be on. Like, those are different ways that these insecurities are manifesting. And it's no problem if it's not affecting your sex life. Like, I think it's okay, personally.
You're going to be a human, and so there's no world where you will not have any insecurity, and you're going to do some things to, make your relationship work.
Yeah.
But you also don't want things getting in the way, and I don't think it's healthy to just say, you know what, you're insecure about that, I'm insecure about that. Let's just never touch it. Let's never talk about it. Let's never explore it. Let's just stay in our happy little lanes, because there's a richer relationship that could take place.
Yeah, and I think that's what we have discovered is, like, as we've broken down or navigated some of these insecurities, I think it actually brought us closer together. I think it made our sex life better. And I mean, I don't think we would want to go back.
Yeah.
So yeah, body image, I think.
What did you, if you're comfortable sharing, what?
Yeah, I was classically one of those people that, like, look, I don't like my body. It may be hard to tell on camera. I'm a little bit of a bigger guy. I'm kind of fat. So I don't necessarily take my shirt off and go, wow, I look really good.
Chris Hemsworth right there.
Yeah. So I look at myself and I acknowledge I'm overweight. And I look at that and I go, I don't find that like the most attractive. And so when we first got together, I mean, I don't find my body attractive. And so when we were going to be intimate for the first time, I don't want to like, I don't want to like stand naked in front of you. I'm like going to get naked and like get under the covers so like you don't see my body.
Yeah.
And I think that it just kept happening. And you think of ways that it's affecting you. Like I would sometimes keep a shirt on. I would do that. I would get naked and go under the covers, or like have sex with the lights off. Like I don't want you like just sitting there staring at my naked body. That's gross. You're gonna like hate me. You're gonna be turned off. You're gonna think I'm disgusting, and you're gonna not want to be with me. Those are like the thoughts that flooded my head, and so I think that's what I had to face in myself. I think that's something I had to be honest and upfront about with you, and I think we've overcome that. Like I've overcome, or I will say I've navigated. I think we use that word when we were talking about this a lot. Like we've navigated this in our relationship. That now, literally, yes, I am perfectly fine with you just like staring at my naked body.
Lusting after your
Lusting
naked body.
after. But is that insecurity gone? I would say in this relationship, yes. I would say I've overcome it in our relationship. There is a trust there that you are not judging me. You aren't lying when you say that you find me attractive. Now, if you passed away and I were to like
killing me off already.
I would I would go on a date with somebody, or like I would get in another relationship and there was intimacy. Would that insecurity be there? Like 99% chance, yes. At the beginning, that insecurity would be there. But I think that it was very important that we navigated that in our relationship. What about you? Did you have any insecurities from your body image?
No, I was perfectly confident.
I mean, I thought you were perfect, so yeah.
Thank you. I mean, of course, I shared a lot of the insecurities that you were talking about, but I had kind of some unique ones that were personal to me that weren't obvious on the surface. I have PCOS, so that's hormone imbalances, which means that I grow more facial hair than the average girl does. And I don't think most guys would anticipate touching a girl's face being such a triggering insecurity for a girl. It's like, you know, in the movies or whatever, it's like, oh, and then he caresses her face, is like move number one. Like, that's not.
You walk up, you want to get a girl, oh, you just like.
Yes. And that is a hard no. When it comes to just like in my head and my desire, it's scary for me to be touched because I'm afraid you're going to be repulsed. You're going to be there and be like, is that like a beard? And it's not obvious necessarily because I work pretty hard to make it not obvious, you know? So that was something that I had to, I opened up to you about that even when we were dating and, you know, just kissing me or whatever, to be like, hey, sometimes I'm going to say no. And as we started to have sex, it was especially boundaries, you know, waking up in the morning or whatever, and me being like, I don't want you to.
I need to get ready for the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was something that, yes, I communicated to you, but that insecurity has not disappeared from me. It's definitely still a present thing that I think of every day still.
Yeah, and again, it's something that we've navigated. Like, we do wait for you to get ready in the morning. If we're going to be intimate at 9 a.m., like, we've both probably had a bath or shower already.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did we navigate this? Like, we're like, woo, we overcame some of these, or we navigated through it. Like, how?
What are some of these tools
Yeah,
that
what are
we
these-
use that others could use?
Yeah.
Number one that I think is just important if we're talking about like that first insecurity, right? The overall, I don't like my body. If possible, if it's an option, and I know it's really hard for some people, just have moments possibly outside of intercourse time
Yeah.
to just get naked in front of the other person. And that's so vulnerable. And I'm not going to lie and say you will like what you see. Meaning like you personally, not like, Michael, you're not going to like what you see in me. But that's going to be what I'm thinking. I'm going to be thinking, this is gross. I'm disgusting. Like those are the thoughts in my head. But just choose to take that first step to be vulnerable with your partner.
Find the non-sexual moments. Like, take a shower together. Probably going to be naked for that. Most likely with the lights on. For safety reasons, you should probably have the lights on. And then find those times. But make sure both people are comfortable with those times. Don't surprise. Sometimes that can make people feel more insecure. If you happen to be like getting out of the bath and I just like slammed the door open and just like stared at you, you'd be like, what are you doing? Like,
that really violates someone's privacy if that's not
grab a towel instantly and try and cover up. Pre-plan those moments. Ask beforehand, is that okay? Like, knock on the door, say, hey, can I come in? And let the person be comfortable with it.
I want to add on to that. One of my favorite things that we did in our relationship was there have been times that you have come in when I've been getting ready for the day and you have like turned me in front of the mirror and you have held me in front of the mirror and not forced in a bad way, but like strongly encouraged for me to look up, look in the mirror and see you holding me and accept that that's my naked body that you are desiring and wanting. And I can see it. And I have wanted to look away before. I have cried while it's happened before, but I've also been grateful and I felt loved and I felt more secure. So that's something where you weren't trying to initiate sex through that. You were just trying to love me. And I mean, sometimes that could lead to more.
But on your topic of repetition, I think that's important, and I think of it as like reinforcing. So I was like, Eden, your body's amazing. Like, I don't feel a beard when I touch your face. But I kept reinforcing that idea, like standing in front of the mirror. Like, that was something that helped me with my body too. And it also helped you with your body image and us seeing each other naked as well. I think it's something that is built over time. Like, trust is something that's built over time, and I think that's like the core concept that you're building is trust. It's trust that you will not be judged by the other person. And I think if you ignore it, like you always have sex with the lights off, you're not addressing like, are you building that trust? Or are you still scared every single time they're going to judge you? And if the lights are on one time, they're going to actually judge you.
Yeah.
Force those name the fear. So like, again, what are you fearing? Are you fearing judgment? Vocalize those fears. I think, I think a very common thread in all of these larger insecurity buckets and everything that we ever talk about in marriage is communication. So early on, like before we even had sex, we had already talked about our insecurities around sex, which was very weird for me because I was never like a very deep conversation person. Like I've mentioned many times, you really like introduced me to that skill and world of deep conversations. But we had that discussion, like, what are your sexual insecurities? And we like addressed head on, like, yeah, I don't feel comfortable with like my naked body. And we talked about it early, and just talking about it.
And I mean, we got specific. It wasn't just so much that I don't like my naked body. It was, I don't like this feature on my body. I'm afraid of being touched in this way and whether or not you'll still like me.
Here's what I think about it.
When we were talking about naming the fears and the repetition and being naked in front of one another, I think something that's really important while we're talking about that communication and repetition is being honest still. So when you're giving that affirmation, those compliments, you know, you stepping out of the shower naked, and if I was to be like, you are so skinny, and you're like, I am literally not.
I'm not?
No, you're not a stick of a dude. You're my big man, and I love you. Like I think if I was to say things to you that you were like objectively, factually, I don't feel like that's true. You wouldn't. It could also erode and break down trust.
Yeah.
So if you were to tell me, I mean, you've done that for me before. You've said before, like, I don't think that dress looks great. And so when you'll be honest with me and say, no, then when you tell me I'm attracted to you right now, that builds that trust to be like, he means it. He's not just lying to me. So I think it's be honest in your compliment, not be honest to be rude. Be honest in your compliment. Use the words that are accurate to what you're feeling and seeing and thinking.
Yeah. I think something people can do themselves is like have an honest conversation with yourself, look at yourself in the mirror, like do those positive affirmations. But also, once you name the fear, I think there's an element of facing the fear. Like we've mentioned, like the repetition, but also do stuff like place their hands. If you are uncomfortable with your stomach and every time, you know, your husband or wife is like moving their hands and you like always move their hand away from your stomach, like embrace it, move their hand to your stomach and let them touch you the way that you want to be touched.
Yeah, I've definitely done that before with you where I've guided your hand and I've done it mindfully. It's not, I don't want to say it's not in a sexy way, to be honest. It's, I'm guarded, I'm scared, but I'm choosing to overcome that fear right now and be like, okay, you can touch me here. I'm ready. Like, I'll take the deep breath and okay. Yeah. I think the last part on there that I wanted to address is it's also okay to have boundaries still. Mm-hmm. Just because you're trying to overcome insecurities doesn't mean like because you said yes once, it's always a yes. Just because you had the lights on once doesn't mean the lights are always on. Mm-hmm. Still have an ongoing conversation with those things. And if you need to make adjustments and say, I want to wear a shirt tonight, don't go taking off the other person's shirt. If they said I want a shirt on, like leave the shirt on.
Yeah, and especially if you know it's an insecurity, like the lights being off or on. Yes, you've had the lights on one time. Address it each time, especially if you know that, well, that was a point of insecurity. I still ask for consent at times, mm-hmm. which is a whole another podcast. What are some like things to avoid with body insecurities? Like, hey, don't do this. That's not a good way to overcome or navigate.
I feel like this is a classic girl one, but like, don't try to fix it. Don't get into this fix-it mode where, you know, if I'm voicing this insecurity and saying, I really hate my boobs. You being like, no, but I love them every time.
Which I'm guilty of 100%. Like, the fix it language, you know, I'm insecure about my face, but I don't even feel a beard. It's fine. And it's like, I don't feel anything. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. And you're like, that's not helpful.
Yeah. There's a way to validate and then still try to help someone work through it. Say, like, I hear you and I'm sorry you're feeling that way. Is there anything I can do to help? I think that question, is there anything I can do to help? And then you learn over time. That's the beauty of marriage and being with someone for a long time, is you learn how to help. You don't have to ask necessarily every single time. But yeah, avoid just quickly trying to fix it so you can get it on.
Yeah.
Especially.
And debating that perception that they have.
Yeah.
I know another one that I was thinking of. I kind of already mentioned it. The don't bust in the bathroom. It's unwanted or unexpected touch or hitting on those insecurities. If you are insecure about your boobs, don't just go and touch your boobs and be like, it's fine, don't worry.
Honka, honka. You can't pull one of those without, if you know that that's an insecurity and stuff, that's going to just erode trust and safety.
Yep.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you can think of on that front?
No, I think reiterating, everybody has some physical attribute insecurity, most likely.
I was going to say, if you don't, God bless you. You're incredible.
And it's okay. It's okay to have. It's okay to work through. And, we've given a lot of solutions. There is no one-size-fit-all solution. Just because standing in front of a mirror worked for us doesn't mean it's going to work for another couple. But I think the core concepts will build trust, communicate, be open. Mm-hmm. We'll get into that one. Mm-hmm. Speaking of that one, what's the next area?
I think now it's diving into desires, preferences, and kinks. That is vulnerable. It's a different type of vulnerability because you're having to now verbalize things that the other person may not be able to even guess or know. And there can be a lot of cultural shame, personal shame. You don't know what somebody else has experienced. And you're like, oh, if I bring this up, are they going to be like, I hate that? So, yeah, I think that's...
Yeah, and this one, I think, is also one of the most popular ones that people would have, insecurities that people would have. It's that exploration where some person may want to try something new in bed, but they're afraid to broach that topic because they don't want to come off too freaky or, they don't want to be made fun of. I think it's, again, judgment and shame, I think, are core feelings that drive a lot of these insecurities. And I think kink is one of those that just really hammers it home. If somebody said, I want to try a butt plug, and the other person is like, oh my God, that's so gross.
Yeah.
The person who brought it up would be shamed and
then not want to bring up
they would never
else.
Want to bring up anything that maybe the other person would actually want to try.
Yeah.
So it creates that shame spiral. So this is one that I think we've experienced.
No, we're so boring.
Well, that's mine, but what's your insecurity that we had to kind of work through?
Yeah, I think I had to come to accept. I mean, it took me time to realize it, but I was like, I think I like it spicy. I'm a drama queen, right? If anybody who knows me knows I have a flair for the dramatic. I can be more of an adrenaline junkie in general. there's a big fast roller coaster, I'm all over that. And so realizing that that translates to sex too. And also in general, I was always curious about healthy sex and what that could mean. This is where I will tie it in now, coming from purity culture and it being so taboo, and realizing like there's a whole wide world out there. And I didn't even know sex positions, like per se. And to be like, I hadn't heard of a butt plug, for instance, like toy names I didn't know about. Kink was not even a word I was really familiar with. And so I think for us, broaching these topics did involve a lot of vulnerability because it was me also being dumb
like
at times.
Learning.
Yeah.
It was learning and then learning you may want to try it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think my insecurity is, funny enough, like the opposite, where I'm like just pretty vanilla. I'm kind of a boring person when it comes to sex. I'm like, I'll try stuff for sure, but I'm not actually out here like, what's the Rihanna?
Chains and whips excite me.
Yeah. And, sex in the air. I love the smell of it. Yeah, I was like, I'm kind of good with, keeping it traditional here. But that is also an insecurity, which sounds maybe a little stupid, but it's a little bit of an insecurity when somebody maybe wants to do that exploration or wants you to like, you ask me what my fantasy is like all the time, and I'm like, I don't
Making
know.
love to my wife.
You're expecting like this crazy scenario where I'm like trying to have sex while paragliding or something. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, like I just love a healthy relationship. As long as I get to keep having.
My fantasy is having sex.
With somebody I love.
Yeah.
But it is one of those things that it's like that was a desire that I was insecure about, where I'm like, I don't have this like deep exploration side.
I think that's really interesting to highlight that is another way to approach these topics. I think a lot of times you'd think about voicing the freaky thing or voicing the kinky thing, and it's equally vulnerable to say no.
But it was also, I think, the fear and how it maybe manifested was more of letting you down, like, or not being into it. One place I know I kind of like let you down is like lingerie. I'm not like look, you look fantastic in lingerie, and don't get me wrong, like you are sexy. I love you wearing lingerie, but it's not one of those things that I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like blowing my mind. Like I need this in my life every day. I'm like, you come out wearing like a baggy t-shirt, I'm like, you're sexy as hell, girl. Versus, wearing like some crazy lingerie, I'm like, you are still sexy as hell. Like,
Yeah.
you're still the sexy woman that I loved and married.
Yeah, I mean, that was wild to me. I think the way I had always framed that in my mind, especially growing up, was just this, number one, lingerie was like the only like, ooh, racy, like, and that was like Victoria's Secret, like, oh my gosh, that's so taboo. So in my mind, that was the freaky thing to do, was to like throw on some lingerie. And then to find out that you're like, was...
I'm like, it's fine. It's good. And you're like, you should be like creaming yourself with me walking out. Like, what's happening?
And
you should be a wild animal.
Yeah. And I mean, I think we'll get into some of that in the next category, but because I mean, that can trigger all sorts of insecurity for the other person. But yeah, figuring out how to express desire, exploration, and curiosity. Because maybe for the people who are like, we've already established we're not into the kinky, freaky stuff, you can also still struggle with it just in saying, hey, I want this. You have asked me before in bed and being like, what do you want? And I'm like, I might have a thought in my head. Like, rest assured, most of the time I do have a thought in my head, but working up the nerve to voice it, even though you would be 100% on board with it, it's so scary to say, this is what I want.
Well, and then I'm like monitoring my reaction too, because I think I never want you to feel judged if you actually do voice something that might be different than I expected.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, there was a lot. There's a lot there, and I think ours were tame in some ways to some people's kinks or insecurities about their kinks out there. Another episode we'll talk through this kink guide and the
Let's get
craziness on
into some of the solutions that we use. What are some of these tools that we use to actually overcome this? We've kind of dived into like, this is the topic. These are the struggles and the insecurities. How do we tackle it?
Communication and
No
trust.
shit. Communication?
No. But yes, but I think the key point is like, okay, but like how? How do you communicate this? We used tools to communicate, and those tools are like, there was a show on Netflix which was surprising how much we liked it. It was called How to Build a Sex Room. And it was like literally following these people, and there was like some expert to help them build a sex room.
And they were wild.
In their house. Some of them were pretty wild. But it opened up conversation. We would literally pause and be like, what is that? Like, hold on. We need to like look that thing up. What is this? I think it's called like a Prince Andrew thing. Like, I don't know. It's like a big X that I like, okay, what in the 50 Shades of Grey is going on here? But it caused those conversations, and it caused some conversations to be like, I mean, would we try that? And it's like it in the context of this like funny show.
Right. It wasn't in bed. It wasn't when the stakes were high.
It had these real conversations. Like, it caused these real conversations.
Yeah.
And what were you just mentioning?
Yeah, it was the outside of the bedroom conversations. I think to bring up something actively in the moment while everybody's naked, while everybody's vulnerable, while things are hot and heavy, to be like, I don't even want to say all the things that just popped into my head.
Be like, here's this 9-inch dildo. Be like, I'm sorry, what is going on here?
Like, pump the brakes. Like, I'm throwing on clothes, I'm getting out of bed, and I'm running out the door. I learned, I think I read it at one point, but the value of having those conversations literally outside of a bedroom, not just outside of sex, but leave the house, leave a space where sex is even on the table.
Like, it's literally not possible.
Right.
We're driving on a road trip. Yeah.
Yeah, because it creates safety to just talk and not feel any pressure to act. That was huge. We also, some of our friends recommended this at one point, and it was just a guide.
Google spreadsheet.
A list of possible, to be fair, it was like a list of freaky, kinky things, but also like insecurities, trauma. It was a very comprehensive list of...
It's like 200 items or something.
Yeah, things to talk through as partners, where you kind of check boxes of like, yes, no, maybe. And then you compare results.
Yeah,
with each
I think
other.
we did them separately, and then you like come back together and see like, hey, where do we line up? Like, oh, we both said that we want to try a blindfold. Oh, okay, like that. It helped guide those conversations. Or in a place where maybe one person said yes, one person said no, it becomes that like, well, is it a maybe or is it like a hard no?
Yeah.
And it caused those conversations again. Kind of in that same vein, we went to an adult store. Like, seeing those items in
As much
person.
as I was an adrenaline junkie, that was the wrong version of adrenaline.
Your heart was beating.
That was so terrifying.
But it caused conversations, and I think I like to approach stuff with humor. And so, you know, in those adult stores, there's some crazy stuff. And so I would be like, yeah.
No judgment if you're into the crazy stuff.
No, but for us, for me, it was crazy, but
Mr.
I didn't.
Vanilla.
Yeah. And I was like, so you want to like use this thing? And it would be like, literally, I don't even know how you would use it. I don't even know how to describe it, but it was whatever. Yeah. But anyways, it would be like through humor, it would be like, no, that's way too big, like, or whatever. And then it can cause that conversation of like, but I mean, have you ever tried using this type of toy or this type of tool, like shibari rope or something? And then again, it was giving room for those conversations.
Yeah. I really think laughing about things together, not laughing at each other in a mocking way, but laughing through. I think try it as something. If it's something that you're both curious about, give it a shot with no expectations and no upfront, like, hey, we're going to try this tonight. It's set aside time where it's, you know, for us now, I think trying it while having a newborn baby is complicated to be like, we have dedicated time where we're not going to get interrupted. But you can carve out some of those times. You can try to make space for it. But set aside time where you know we're going to try something vulnerable. We've both agreed to it. There's consent to go there. And then see what happens. If you hate it in the middle, say, I hate this. Please stop. If you get to the end and you both are like, that was weird.
And if you both get to the end and go, that was fun, like, you now have something in your repertoire that you can, like, cycle through, go back to.
Yeah.
Feel free to say no. Like you said, say no during, say no before. It's okay. It's okay to, let's say, like, you want to try something and I go, I'm actually not comfortable with that. I don't really want to do that. That's okay. But something that I think is important in that, try and maybe compromise. But when I say compromise, I guess maybe it's more like name the feeling. What are you trying to achieve with that? Is it pleasure that you're trying to give me? Is it an area that you want me to stimulate? Is there other ways to get that feeling, that function?
Yeah. I think we had talked about it, you know, it can be physical sensations, like what physical sensation are you trying to feel? But it could also be emotional. I think for a lot of women, I'll say, and it's not that it wouldn't be true for men, but I hear it a lot with women. It's an experience emotionally that they're wanting to have. A lot
like
of women,
submissive or dominant.
Yeah, but also just like, I want to feel crazy wanted. Like, I want to feel that you want me no matter what and nothing can stop you. Not in a unsafe way. Mm-hmm. And so to say, that's what I want. Does that have to mean I want to role play rape? No, that's not what it's asking for. And if the other person is just like assuming that's what you mean, you could end up being like, what the hell were you doing? Like, that's so violating.
Yeah.
So to express, this is what I want, and the other person be like, oh, so you just want me to be more passionate. You can figure out how to find this common ground that you're both okay with.
Yeah.
When you name the desire, which takes a little bit of exploration of yourself. And you'll probably try to explain it, and then you'll try something and be like, that was not what I meant. I'm sorry, that's not it.
Yeah. So I think those are a lot of the solutions that we've thought through. What about some of the like things to avoid? Like, again, like those don'ts. Don't do this.
Shaming one another. It sounds obvious, but simply somebody saying, you know, if you were like, so have you ever heard of shibari? And I'm like, isn't that like really like gross, mean thing. Like, isn't that mean and oppressive to women or whatever? And you'd be like, no, I don't, what are you talking? Like, there's a positive and a negative way to frame things. So being mindful.
Be curious.
Yeah. I think we talked about that in our last podcast, was leading with curiosity. So that's one of the, just like a ground rule, I would say.
Another one that we kind of touched on was like, don't surprise. Like no surprises. If you're in the middle of sex and you then like surprise, I'm going to try this thing, like that may be the wrong time to try, or surprise, like I said, like bringing out a toy or a new thing that the other person may or may not be comfortable with.
Yeah. I think another thing that's valuable, and people have different views on this, is don't reference things necessarily that you've seen in porn and being like, I want to do this because I saw this and I want this. Some people might view it as actually really good and healthy because they're like, oh, it's good to use it as an educational tool and reference. I think what's hard with porn is it becomes comparative a lot of times, and it's unrealistic in its comparison.
Yeah.
You can find tools for inspiration outside of that can be more of a neutral conversation.
Yep.
Like the things we've talked about already. But yeah, I think that can be very triggering to have, being like, yeah, the other day when I was looking at porn, they did this and now I want to do it. You know, then you could have this like, I could never measure up to this fantasy that you just like. So, yeah. Anything else that could be a pitfall?
I think the only last one is faking it. So if I'm just trying to satisfy you and I say like yes, and I like fake enjoyment, it can cause like resentment. It can cause disinterest. I can resent you for liking it where I don't, or if you then want to do it again and again and again, and I'm like, oh no, I need to like fake it again and again and again, and I don't actually like it, it's a recipe for resentment and long-term harm. It's okay to say no, it's okay to broach it, it's okay to compromise and find that shared solution.
Yeah, absolutely.
Last one.
Yeah.
Last one that we want to touch on is performance / like comparison and experience. This is one that definitely comes up a lot when people are like first entering new relationships and people have had relationships before. Performance anxiety, though, that's things like erectile dysfunction or fear of not being able to perform, fear of not living up to the other person's expectations, and then comparison or experience. You know, if somebody has had many partners in the past and somebody has had a few that like mismatch, and fear that you're going to be compared to the other person, fear that you're not going to live up to their expectations again. So I think this is one that we dealt with in a couple different ways. I think mine was a little bit that like performance, like I am not like the most confident person. So I wasn't super confident that I was always going to be able to perform, especially as our relationship went on more and more, as you referenced in the last time, like you like it spicy a little bit. And funny enough, I think like you have a little bit of a higher libido than me.
I know, it's like different than you stereotypically hear.
Yeah, I think like, especially when you think of those stereotypes of men who are supposed to be thinking about sex like 24/7, and if a woman's ready to go, like a man is definitely ready to go at all times. He's gonna get hard, perform instantly, and there's times where like I'm like whatever. Let's just say like I ate like a big bowl of chili and I got like some bubble guts going on, and then you're like, yeah, let's go. I'm like, I'm not confident in my body. I'm not. Like, am I gonna fart during sex?
You don't want me under sheets right now.
Yeah, and so I think it's that fear that like I'm not gonna be able to perform when like you're ready, and that expectation that like guys are supposed to be horn dogs and ready to go and always perform when needed. And it's funny, I think that insecurity actually like caused issues more often than not. It was only those times that I was like anxious that I actually like got in my own head that I actually would maybe like lack performance.
Yeah.
But if I don't think about it, or now like I'm not concerned, it's we don't have a problem at all.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that head game is like really important. That's funny. Anyways.
In more ways than one. Yeah.
I think for me, the insecurity that I really encountered in this category was I was a virgin when we got together, and you weren't. And I was definitely afraid of not measuring up to your past experiences. And I was, because I'm so deep and I want to know everything about everyone all the time, I wanted every detail all the time. And I think for me, sure, some of it was I just wanted to know you and love you. But a lot of it was like, I want to know how to perform. I want to know how to please you. I want to know everything that you've ever liked. But every time I asked a question, it gave me fuel to be insecure because now I knew what you had liked in the past.
And I also like, I didn't also engage 100% in those because I'm not one, like, I'm the opposite where I'm like, hey, past is the past. Like I would rather just be ignorant, and whether you've been with 0 or 100 people, like I'm assuming you're with me for me, and let's try and build our own life together.
Yeah. Yeah, you didn't tend to give me much fuel for that insecurity to really breed that insecurity. But the other part for that, the other part for me within that was just the perfectionism that I struggle with outside of sex. But if I struggle with it outside of sex, you best believe it's going to come into play in sex. So I don't just want to have a good time. It's very easy for me to forget to have a good time and to
trying to like do the right thing. Mm-hmm. What is the perfect move that I can do here?
Yeah.
Yeah. How did we kind of work through this and overcome as much as we can?
I think focusing on connection over outcome, connection over performance, connection over climax. It's about us coming together and being intimate and loving one another more than, this end result that we've imagined is what good sex means. Letting go of the movies, letting go of porn, letting go of past experiences, and saying us here right now in our current emotional state, physical state, how do we connect here in this moment?
Yeah. Like you say, connection over not outcome, but like pleasure over performance, where when we're having sex, it's about us just being with each other and the pleasure of being with each other. It doesn't have to be this exact result. And if arousal shifts, pivot. Like if you need to stop and reset, that's okay. Where it is like, hey, maybe something has changed or arousal shifted, stop, go back to like kissing and cuddling or whatever, and move with the arousal, and it's okay to like restart in the middle.
Yeah. I mean, I can think of times where we have been in the midst of sex and then I have gotten insecure or there's been a trigger or something and it has resulted in like an abrupt halt. And I could end up crying. I mean, it could be very unsexy things, you know, and you have pivoted with me and you have met me there. And because you met me and because you loved me in that vulnerable moment.
I'm not like, hold on, let me finish.
Yeah, no, you're not. And because you met me there, it then sparked even greater desire sometimes. And you never did it in order to get back to sex. I never perceived that.
No, because sometimes
It didn't.
It ended.
Yeah.
And that was okay.
But I think that's where it's like going with the flow of what's happening rather than performance. And that's the pivoting and shifting and stopping and pausing and just responding to your partner's needs and cues as they express them.
Yeah, and as we talk about like that comparison, I think it's like I said, it's like realizing that those past stats, they don't apply to this new team. Marriage is a new team. Like, it's us now. It is not you and whoever you've been with, me and whoever I've been with. Like, those are past relationships. The way that you guys kissed, that was that. We are our team. We kiss our way. We figure out our own way of, having fun.
Yeah.
And I think when it comes to like performance, sometimes it is important to make those like no goal nights. There is no end goal. A good sexual intimate night doesn't mean we both end an orgasm after this and this happens. Like there's no goalpost. It is like, we're having fun. We're just loving each other.
Yeah.
And however it ends, it ends.
And I think something I ended up really grateful for was actually, I'm trying to think. I think it was once I got pregnant, there was a season where we weren't allowed to have sex in order to protect the pregnancy. And so it was really interesting to kind of go back to exploring intimacy and connection without sex being on the table at all. And so I think that idea of a no goal night and just saying like, I just want to be close to you. I just want to be held by you.
I just want to cuddle and kiss. Yeah.
And then that has carried after having a baby and being cleared and ready to go. It made it so much easier and richer to be able to say like, I just want to be held tonight, and just being held and that being beautiful and good and enough. And sure, sometimes that led to more, but it wasn't the objective, and neither person assumed an objective beyond just being held or whatever.
Yeah. What else? Anything else in the performance or comparison experience?
Yeah, I think something that can honestly be really helpful that could apply to any of these is getting help. If you're really struggling with any of these areas, I think you hear it commonly when it comes to either performance issues or trauma issues. People will be like, oh, that's when you get therapy. You can get therapy for any of these things.
If it's erectile dysfunction, like, and it's affecting you enough, go to a doctor. Like, it's okay. It's embarrassing, but you can bring it up with a doctor and they can potentially prescribe something. They can potentially direct you towards therapy because maybe it's psychosomatic.
I think for women who are feeling like they're not aroused enough and they're not wet enough, like, instead of just getting in your head, like going to a doctor and realizing like you have hormonal imbalances. It's not, there's nothing wrong with your desire or attraction to your partner. Going to a doctor can help unveil like what's actually going on. So,
and they may just be like, use lube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then also when it's not a medical issue in that sense, therapy can help you uncover why is this hurdle there?
Yeah.
And there might be things you don't even know are going on within you. And being brave enough to address that is going to be the best way to love your partner.
Yeah. And there's all different types of therapy that can help for all these different scenarios. It may be personal therapy. It might be couples therapy. It might be sex therapy.
Yeah.
There's specific people who specialize in this.
Yeah.
Are there any like don'ts when it comes to performance or comparison?
I would say don't get into the details of someone's past. I would say don't do it. I would just say in general, if you can.
Avoid discovering their past relationships.
Yeah, like you don't need the graphic details of the story. You don't. You think it might be helpful, it won't be.
Yeah, and I think it's important to not get the graphic details, but you can extract information like what have you learned in your past relationships that we can bring into this one? Like feelings. Like if you know, hey, I like having my shoulders massaged. It's like, okay, maybe you learn that. You don't need to be like, oh, you did Sarah, who I used to be with, like rubbed my shoulders and it was really hot. It's like, that's not helpful. But if I came in and said, in a relationship, in our relationship, and I go, I really like my shoulders being rubbed. I'm bringing that in maybe from a past relationship, but I'm not giving you the graphic details that now every time you rub my shoulders, you're like thinking that I'm
Sarah.
with another girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I brought that one up because of how it related back to, my desire to know those things, and it's not actually wise.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that?
No, I think when it comes to performance, there's the very easy, obvious one, which is like have no judgment, like be supportive of your partner.
Yeah.
But comparison, experience.
This is another one where I would say don't fake it. I know we talked about that within like faking whether or not you were into something with the kink and desire category.
Yeah.
This is one where you hear about it a lot with girls like faking orgasms and trying to act like porn. If they know, like, my husband has looked at porn before and I feel like I have to perform at that level, that's also going to be unhealthy. That's not you building intimacy and connection between you and your spouse. That's a performance. That's a show.
Yeah.
That's not intimacy.
Yeah. So we hit on some major insecurities: physical, body image, desire, kink, performance, comparison, experience. What is maybe like the summarization?
The big takeaways?
Yeah, the big takeaways. We gave a lot of like solutions kind of oriented to each of those buckets, but I think there's probably some big key takeaways.
You've said it every single podcast. What is your like big takeaway for all of marriage? Your marriage lesson?
I'll continue to shout it from the rooftops, but hopefully as I shout it from the rooftops, give clear examples in each topic is communication. We are very lucky. We talk often. But it's hard to get to a solution and common ground if you don't talk about it. So communication, yeah. I'd say like that's pillar number one.
Yeah.
What about you? What's another one?
Trust and safety outside of the bedroom is going to cultivate trust and safety inside the bedroom. Those moments, the way you handle conflict, the way you love and respect each other, the way you express, love languages outside of sex, will translate into intimacy when you're naked and vulnerable. You can't assume vulnerability is going to like rock and roll and be perfect if you're not respecting someone outside of that space.
And that's respecting your partner. I think it's just as important. Like the third pillar would probably be take care of yourself. Like it is important to, in all of these, to do some self-care. You stand in front of the mirror yourself. Don't be afraid of your kinks. Like don't shame yourself if you have kinks. It's okay to work on yourself if you have performance issues. Like you can go to the doctor. You can work on yourself, and I guarantee the more like self-care you do, you'll probably bring more confidence, and you'll have better sex in the bedroom.
Yeah.
With your partner.
Adding on to that, I think giving yourself grace for when you don't measure up to your expectations of yourself, or sometimes you're going to not meet your partner's desires, needs. That's just human. We talk about performance issues as an example, and if it doesn't work, that's disappointing, and you can either shut down and isolate, or you can give yourself grace and compassion. That's a self-care thing that nobody can do that for you. You've got to do that for yourself. I'd say the last one is laugh together. Just have fun. I gave that advice to a newlywed where I was like, just have fun together. If nothing else, laugh and have fun. The rest will follow.
Yeah. The last thing that I actually wanted to say is addressing, like we've touched on it, but what insecurities do you tackle? Is it every insecurity that you ever have had you need to like tackle? I relate it to, I think I use this comparison with you of addiction, where in addiction, the way that I've heard addiction described is something is addiction is when that thing is interfering with your normal life. So if drinking is affecting your job, like you might be addicted to alcohol or drinking. I think that kind of correlates to the insecurities, because everybody has some insecurities. But if it's not actually affecting your sex life in any way, I don't think it's like that's at the top of the list. Like you have to tackle it. There's probably some bigger ones that are affecting your sex life. If you are feeling shame about something, if you are having to wear a shirt because like I can't let my husband or wife like see me without a shirt, like that's affecting your relationship. And especially if you are assuming that the other person is going to judge you, if you're assuming that your significant other is going to judge you, that's something that's impeding this relationship. Those are the insecurities that personally I would suggest tackling. I don't think you need to address like, I think I have a weird thumb. Like that's an insecurity that like, is it affecting your relationship? If it is, okay, like maybe you need to bring that up with your partner and talk through it. But if it's not, it's like, oh, that's just like a little insecurity that I have. It's like, maybe that's one that it doesn't like cross that threshold.
Yeah, I think it can be a trap that some people and some personalities can fall to, where you obsess over insecurities and then you just ruminate on all of them, and one insecurity leads to another insecurity that leads to another, and then you're voicing all of them, and that can also paralyze everything, where you're like, this is just like landmines everywhere.
Yeah.
Now if there are that many landmines, that's fair and valid. That should be the flag that therapy is going to be really beneficial for you.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that in a like judgmental, like you need therapy, but you need therapy. And I'm saying that as someone who goes to therapy.
Yeah.
So,
but we could talk about insecurities for hours. like we said, there's 5 to 7 other buckets of insecurities that can affect you in the bedroom. This was just a high level of a couple. Our thoughts, our solutions, some key takeaways.
And we're not experts, pros, educators on this. And so we assume that other couples have discovered other secrets that we haven't yet learned, where they've really mastered how to overcome some of these insecurities, these battles. And if anybody wants to share in whether comments or sending us a message and saying, hey, this is something that we discovered and it actually really works for us, I would love to learn and grow still.
Yeah. And pretty soon we're going to have our website up and we'll have some resources on there referencing some of these guides, and we're excited.
Yeah. This has been a fun topic to dive into. A little vulnerable, to be fair.
Very vulnerable.
Speaking of insecurities, like this was an insecurity to just even talk about.
Put it out on the internet.
Yeah. What on earth did we just do?
We hopefully helped somebody.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you guys have any other subjects that you would like us to talk about, we're always open. Feel free to DM or let us know. And we will see y'all later.
Yeah. Let's go get those clothes off.
All right. Bye.
Bye.